We just bought this Wrangler 392, the V8 powered Wrangler, and I thought, man, this is the top dog off-roader, 475 horsepower, nothing's gonna top this. And then Land Rover just dropped off the Defender Octa, and Dad, this just blows the Wrangler out of the water.
Yeah, you listen to Mercedes, we're waiting on the G-Wagon AMG 63, because if we can get the Defender Octa, we could certainly get the G-Wagon, but yeah, this is a top dog, the most badass Defender you can get, and it's great that they're not really going after the 392, they're really going after the G-Wagon.
No, you're right. But as a Jeep guy and a Land Rover guy, I am like completely conflicted now because I freaking love that Wrangler, but it's hard to argue with 626 horsepower.
Yeah, and active suspension and all this other cool stuff that this vehicle does. And most importantly, these three little lights right there, which you can see if you start it up, you can show them.
Yeah.
But there's these three little, why don't you start it up, because it looks really cool. There you go, do it using the key, of course, because these three lights suggest that it is too wide without having the marker lights, because it's got that classic Raptor, Bronco, Raptor Ranger, you know, wide body stance, and I love that. I love that so much.
So basically what this is Land Rover took their standard Defender and then sent it to the gym, and what you ended up with was this desert fighting, crazy 600 horsepower beast. And Dad, I think that what you said is actually very true. This is kind of like a Raptor Defender, right? It's got that crazy wide body, more power, crazy suspension recipe that Ford used, but they took it to 11.
Actually, they sent it to the German gym because of what's under the hood.
That's a good point, yeah. So Land Rover's had a bunch of different engine options in the Defender. There's the little 4-cylinder, there's the 3-liter inline 6, there's a supercharged V8, but the Octa gets a unique powertrain. This is a 4.4-liter V8 from BMW. Twin turbo, 626 horsepower, 580 pound-feet of torque. 600 horsepower in an off-roader.
Yeah, it's a lot, and unlike the Wrangler, where they just stuffed a big old Hemi into it and then kind of, you know, made it off-road worthy, but kind of forgot about the street performance, because that thing, when you get in that thing, you floor it, it's like driving
it tries
a little
to fall over.
Yeah. This actually has the chassis and the engineering to support that much power.
So I was driving a Wrangler the other day, and this guy pulls up to me on a left turn in an F-Pace, and he floors it and I floor it, and we make the left turn and then it goes straight and I can really get on it, and there's an expansion joint, and I basically jumped into oncoming traffic. It was unreal. The thing like teleported a lane over.
All right, before we start, you know, dissing on the Wrangler too much, it does have one magic button that this doesn't have, and that is, of course, the exhaust note.
And the yellow. That one is gold.
Gold, yeah. But that button makes that thing such a unique and interesting on-road and off-road experience, because that Hemi is just glorious in its exhaust note.
Yeah.
This, on the other hand, is very European. Dare I say Slovakian, Tommy?
Yes, it's made in Slovakia.
Right.
Now,
it's a little subdued.
Let's explain the suspension on this thing, because the engine's interesting and the little 3 dots are cool, but the suspension is what makes, in my opinion, the Octa special, because it's got no sway bars. So like a Wrangler has a sway bar disconnect, which is cool. This doesn't have sway bars at all, and that's because it uses the shock absorber to manage sway control, because it's a hydraulic over air system. So it's got hydraulics to manage sway control, air to manage comfort and height control, and that's a lot going on, I'll admit, but it means that it rides like butter.
Yeah, I guess you said that they were going after the Citroën DS in terms of on-road street performance.
Citroën.
Yeah, Citroën DS, which is probably the best riding vehicle ever built and conceived by the French. So that's a high, you know, it's a high bar to go after. Do you like the matte paint?
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, it's something that I don't know if I would spec on my off-roader, because, you know, I worry about the tree aspect of how it's going to survive, but I do like this. They bring in the color on the inside. This is actually called Sargasso Blue. Sargasso. Excuse me.
What is a Sargasso or Sargasso?
This is the downside with doing the one takes here, but it's this just in. We had to show you guys because we're so excited about this one. And then in the trunk,
you know, it's unusual. It's got a regular American style hitch.
Yeah.
Oftentimes the Land Rovers have the European where it kind of comes from underneath. I like that, because that means you can tow your horses or your boat or, gosh, you know, your race car if you're that inclined.
So one question I do have for you though, is it a little too subtle? Because the Octa is something like $90,000 more than a sort of similar equipped 110. Is it a little too subtle to be a halo?
Well, I think it's a little too European for America.
What do you mean?
That's what I mean. the Europeans, the British specifically, like to be, subtle's not necessarily the right word. Maybe the word is elegant. And this is like, this is like an off-roader that's wearing a tuxedo.
Yeah, the Wrangler's not elegant. I'll give you that.
No, that is.
It is awesome, but it's not elegant.
That's a wife beater T-shirt.
Yeah, there you go. That's exactly right.
How much is the tow, Tommy? Like 8,000 pounds?
Something like that. Yeah, it's pretty high.
Yeah.
And I love too that this one's got Goodyear Wrangler tires. So the G-Wagon also incredibly capable, triple locking diffs, that kind of thing. But even the most off-road capable Mercedes tires, kind of a street thing. This is a real tire they put on it.
Bronco Raptor Wrangler 392 35s. These are 33s, Tommy.
Yes, but it's got air suspension.
Yes,
so you
but
can
these
jack
are
it up.
33s, Tommy.
Yeah, I know. Well, so's a Power Wagon, and that does okay.
Yes, also problematic.
So
go ahead.
Inside, a bunch of different changes. This kind of one-piece, two-piece, really, bucket seat, which is more comfortable, I think, than other Defender seats. Holds you in a little better. Octa steering wheel with the paddle shifters. These illuminate red when you're in the special Octa mode, which loosens up traction.
We'll show in a second.
Yep. There's a button down here to turn that on. I don't think I love the carbon fiber in a 6,000-pound SUV.
Let me show you the problem with the carbon fiber. Cole, come back here. So it does have, of course, real carbon fiber, especially, you can very well see it here in the back seats. The problem with carbon fiber is that now carbon fiber looks just like plastic fiber. In other words, you can make plastic look just like that, a la the Toyota TRD Pro.
Sure.
Tacoma, Tundra, right? They all have
that's
this.
True.
Sequoia.
This is real, though.
Yeah, but if you, it's like it's like wearing a fake Rolex.
But this is the real Rolex.
Yes, but if you have to tell people it's real, you're already at a problem.
Okay. Well, I could see
what
that.
I mean?
Yeah, sure.
I mean, like wood might be a little bit more classy.
Yeah, wood's all very 04 though.
Yeah, and it doesn't have that piano black plastic, which is nice.
So Cole, do you want to hop in? Do you want to drive, Dad, or do you want me to drive?
You drive.
Okay.
I'll hop in the passenger, you hop in the back, Cole, and we're going to take it for a ride and show you just what 600 plus horsepower can do.
So, as my dad mentioned earlier, that's a good point. I mean, it really is going after G-Wagon, of course. So they have done some stuff to up the level of luxury. It's got like a suede headliner.
I do love that. I love the
suede on the A-pillar is
really
nice.
nice.
The little white contrasting shifter is really nice. So there are some things. But to your point earlier, and we just did a podcast with the Toyota Land Cruiser, it does still feel a little utilitarian in here compared to the Mercedes.
Yeah, one of the things that made the Defender the first one we bought. Now keep in mind, now we have owned we own two new ones, and we now have a classic old Defender. But one of the things that made it so cool was that they did keep it utilitarian. In other words, they kind of kept the spirit of the old Defender. But in this car at $160,000, it does start to feel a little bit cost-cutting.
Do you want your ventilated seat on?
Sure, turn my ventilated seat on.
All right, so I'm talking about...
Of course we have vented seats. Do you have a vented steering wheel, though, Tommy?
There's no vented steering wheel.
Is there a cool box?
There is a cool box.
Yeah?
You betcha, yeah. 2-position on and off.
Ooh, not just a 1 position, but a 2 position.
And then look at all the different drive modes you have. So you've got dynamic for street use, which firms up those shock absorbers. Comfort, Octa, which is kind of the off-road rally mode. There's snow, grass, gravel, snow, mud ruts, rock crawl, wade, and a configurable setting.
You know what I don't get? And this is something that still is a head scratcher. Maybe they haven't done a focus group on this. So now a lot of new cars have interior colors where you can go anywhere from Berlin disco to just a simple blue.
With ambient lighting?
Yeah. Why is this brown and gray?
You mean the color palette?
Yeah. There's this could be so much. It would
Sure.
look so much more expensive if you actually added depth of color as opposed to keeping it this kind of communist gray.
So, I agree with that. Actually, I think they do need to put color in it. You're right. You'll notice as I put it in dynamic mode, just driving here, we were in comfort mode, is really soft. Dynamic mode, the whole character of the car totally changes, and it's all down to that trick suspension. I can't express enough how interesting I think the suspension is.
It does feel heavy, and that's because it is heavy.
It's 5,982 pounds, so it's very heavy.
Yeah.
But it drives kind of like a tank. It's a weighty vehicle, but you do feel like you're in command of the world.
It's a solid car.
Okay, so we'll go onto the main road here. This nice little back road, and we'll unleash 626 horsepower.
What do you think the first comment will be after you unleash the 620 horsepower?
Man, I want one. Okay, you ready? Here we go.
Yep. It's a little raspy.
Yeah, it's got some growl to it.
Yeah, I wonder if that's real or fake. So what,
4.6-ish, 4.5 with the off-road tires. Well, so it's not breaker neck fast because it is so heavy.
Yeah.
But it's got this kind of Bentley quality where it's like a never-ending push, right? It just never stops accelerating, which is very cool. Here, we'll let the bicyclist clear, and then we'll hit it one more time.
Don't scare him. Yeah,
Pretty good.
So I think the first comment will be, I want one 3 years from now when it's 90K.
Yeah, but I will say that's a really good point. Land Rovers do have a history of kind of falling off a cliff for depreciation, as I would know.
Yes.
Owning 2 of them.
But they are charming and lovable and ultimately just so cool.
Yes, and I would also counter that by saying Defenders are holding their value much better than like Discoveries.
That's true, yeah. The Discos just, oh my God.
They just tank, right?
Yeah.
But the Defender's doing much
and
better.
actually Range Rovers tank pretty quickly too.
They also do that. But something about the Defender, I think, because it's still very desirable 6-7 years after it's been debuted.
I mean, you know, if you really want this, lease it.
Sure, that's going to be an expensive lease payment.
Yeah, but at least you'll be under warranty the whole time, and then you won't take any depreciation hit.
I will also say, too, that these Defenders, I'm the first to admit some of the older Land Rovers had a lot of issues, but Defender has been holding up really well. They seem to have really kind of ironed out a lot of their common issues that people have been having with these Land Rovers.
Well,
and this BMW engine's very solid.
Yeah, it's always about demand, right? And this is ultimately so cool that there is always going to be a certain person who's going to want the big dog in the Defender lineup, or maybe in the entire Land Rover / Range Rover lineup. And this is the big dog. I guess you could get a Range Rover autobiography, but you wouldn't have this amount of both on-road and off-road cred.
Put it in comfort mode. It does genuinely feel a lot like, and this is a compliment, an F-150 Raptor driving it down the road. Like, there's a sense of mass and width and softness to it that feels very Raptor-like, very Baja truck-like.
Yeah, you could see this thing, racing in the
Dakar, and it did.
500 or the Dakar.
Do you remember it did very well in the Dakar?
Yeah.
So pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, and I really think if you're a big fan of Land Rover / Range Rover, which, let's face it, we are. We're fanboys for this brand.
Yeah.
Then if you have to have the Ultimate, this is the Ultimate. And in my mind, this is more, we've owned a bunch of Range Rovers as well. Once again, we bought them when they came down quite a bit. The problem with the Range Rover, and maybe the problem with this too, is it's just a little too posh to take off-road right away.
Maybe.
You just feel like at $160,000, you can do a lot of damage if you get it wrong.
So if it was your money, let's say you had $160K to spend on a JLR product, would you get the Octa or a full-size Range Rover?
I get the Octa.
You would?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think I would too.
Yeah, it's also sportier and more youthful, right? I mean, the Range Rover screams wealth and screams kind of poshness. I like to use a British word. But there's this level of off-roadiness that's baked into this. I think the Range Rover also has it, but it's very well hidden.
Yeah,
but
this is more obvious.
It signals it, so people know that, especially in places like Colorado where the mountains are right there, and it's very tempting to go right there.
Just don't expect good fuel economy out of your 6,000-pound twin-turbo V8, because 17 is probably about as good as you can come to expect.
That's actually better than I thought.
It is a mild hybrid, though. It has a 0.4 kilowatt-hour battery, so it's basically a Prius, is what I'm saying.
Because that Wrangler we just bought, the 392, is getting like 14.
Yeah.
And it's got less horsepower, right? It's only 460.
Yeah. That car's a little bit, it's interesting, that car's a little bit more violent off the line, that Wrangler.
I think it's the noise.
It could be the noise, too. But it's also just got super, super short gearing. But once you hit like 50 or 60, this thing just leaves it for dust, I think. Well, we're going to do a drag race. We're going
to do a drag race, and we're going to compare them off-road, and we're going to have all those videos. So please subscribe and head on over to All TFL if you don't want to subscribe, where we have all of our videos of all of our channels.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for watching this just in.
Yep.
They just dropped it off. We've got more videos, a lot more videos coming for you soon. I will be, if anyone's around, at the Land Rover National Rally in Telluride this year. Actually, Uray.
And you're bringing your... Are you bringing your Disco 1? Is that really the move, Tommy?
So we'll see. Case is going to bring this. He's driving this out there. And then I think I'm going to bring my Disco 1 out there.
Okay.
Yeah, and we'll do some videos out there, and I'm going to compare this Octa.
That's a brave move, my man.
I just got it fixed. It's got brand new head gaskets. It's got new ARP head studs. The thing should be good to go.
Yeah, I'm a little nervous for you.
Okay.
But it is cool, and you should do a video on it showing the folks what you got.
Sure.
Now that it is no longer blowing head gaskets and overheating. Thanks to our friend
Joe at Lost Cause Ranch.
Yes.
Yeah, so TFL Classics, we'll have a video up on that later this week.
All right, guys, once again, head on over to alltfl.com if you want to see all of our videos, and I'll see you next time. Ciao.